Division. They are represented by head coach Bryant Vincent in his second season, along with players Nate Sullivan, senior tight end from Omaha, Nebraska, and Billy Pullen, senior linebacker from Kaufman, Texas. We'll begin with opening remarks from Coach Vincent, and then we'll take questions for both Coach and the student athletes. Coach?
I want to start off by saying, I'm honored. Going into year two, I'm honored, and I'm also excited, to be the head football coach at the University of Louisiana Monroe. Change is amongst Northeast Louisiana. Change is all over Monroe right now, and it's good change. There's excitement. There's momentum. The support is growing. I want to start off by thanking, my president, our new president, President Carrie Castile, who has brought tremendous energy, excitement, and passion for our university. Her leadership is very contagious, and it's an extreme breath of fresh air from her just leadership daily. I'd like to thank our athletic director, John Hartwell, that gave me this opportunity and is here with us today, and really just his leadership to helping us get this program up and going. Phase one's complete. Phase one of what we call, it was completed. And phase one in year one is the hardest year. And I know what everybody's talking about. Hey, we started off, we had a great start, 5-1, the best start in years. We had huge wins. We beat a good Jackson State team. We throttled a UAB team at home. We were able to beat Troy on the road, a very good Troy program. We were able to come back and beat James Madison, and then a very proud Southern Miss program. And then as the season went, the Sun Belt Conference, top to bottom, is the SEC of the G5, in my opinion. And I think that a lot of people outside this conference will say the same thing. So, you go back to a lot of those games that we were really close with in the end. In the fourth quarter, we're up 17-14 with 10 minutes to go, at Marshall. And we had the ball. We weren't able to finish. We're tied 21-21 with Ark State with 7 minutes to go. We weren't able to finish, and give them credit, they beat us. But as that season ended and that last second ticked off the clock against ULL, and I've got tremendous respect for ULL and Coach Des and what he does, it was time to start phase two. And the whole key to phase one, this is the 8th program that I've been a part of rebuilding. The whole key is to keep your team together, to keep those guys in that locker room together. We never had negativity. We never pointed fingers. Everything within that program falls on my shoulders, and I accept that. But what we did is we had the highest retention in the Sun Belt, and that's something that I'm very proud of. I'm proud of our staff. I'm proud of our town. I'm proud of our fans, because everybody plays a role in that. So to have the highest retention, I know everybody wants to talk recruiting. Now it's kind of turned to retention. And to have that was able to give us a really big kickstart to phase two. And phase one is always coach-driven. It's always coach-driven. And we infiltrated 73 new players year one, and we were trying to get to know each other's names, going into June. Well, now we were able to bring another class behind the guys that we brought back last year. So the keys to phase two, it has to become player-driven. And we were able to add the right pieces, in my opinion, to the puzzle that we needed. Last year, I felt like we were one deep. Last year's team was a tough team. They were a resilient team. This team has become, and it started in January, I think this team in this locker room has real leadership. We have a team that cares. I started getting text messages after the ULL game that, Coach, we're going to finish this mission. We believe in what our purpose and our mission here is, and we want to finish what we started. So we were able to have around 90% of our team together in January, February, March, April, and May. And We lost one guy in the spring portal. So this has been one of the better off seasons that I've been a part of, and it's because it's become player-driven. I think we've done a tremendous job. We've established a nutrition program. We've been able to expand on that, and obviously that is a big part in today's college football. Our speed and strength program, Coach Novick, Coach Lopez, and Sully, our strength staff, has done a tremendous job. I think my staff having continuity within our staff was a big deal. So, I'm excited. We understand where we're at. We like where we're at. We understand we're picked 7th in the West. And if the way I look at it, we're picked 14th by College Football Live in the Sun Belt, and there's not a better place to be, in my opinion. But understand this, there is change and positive change happening in Northeast Louisiana. And you can feel it. You can ask our players, you can feel it because it's real. Because seeing's believing. It's no different than me standing up here and saying the things that I'm saying right now. Seeing, we've got to go prove it. We got to prove them right or we're going to prove them wrong. And our job is to prove them wrong. And we've got a locker room that is excited. We don't have a chip on our shoulder anymore. We've got a boulder on our shoulder. And this Sun Belt Conference, Commissioner Gill has done an unbelievable job in branding this conference and getting it to where it is. The respect for this conference is elite. The coaching in this conference is elite from top to bottom. It's the SEC, the G5. So we understand what's in front of us. I know that I've got a football team back home that loves each other, that cares about each other, they understand the mission and the purpose, and they own it. And the fans and the alumni and all the excitement and energy is real. And we're excited, to kick off this 2025 season and to be able to prove people wrong. Questions?
We'll now open the floor for questions. Again, if you do have a question for Coach or our student athletes, please raise your hand and we'll have a microphone brought to you. Please give us your name and affiliation.
Coach Jamarcus Fitzpatrick with KTC in Lafayette. You have an incoming freshman in Deshaun Ford. How excited are you to have him on your roster and some of the things that he can bring to the table to your offense?
Deshaun's come in this summer, and, obviously transitioning from high school to college is a big adjustment, but I think he's grown each and every single day. His mentality is different. He reminds you a lot of Ahmad Hardy's mentality. He came in at 238 pounds, and now he's 241. And he's different. Mentally, he's different. I think he has a chance to really impact this football team, and he's had a tremendous summer up to this point. His football IQ is very high. He's very driven. He has a lot of the intangibles to come in here and make a huge impact as a true freshman.
Tyler Kennett from the Herald Dispatch in Huntington. Just curious, you mentioned your experience with, building programs in the past, and now you come here. When it comes to how, maybe football has changed since then to where, like you mentioned, retention is so important. Is there something about, those years spent, going and getting guys and finding people that now becomes incredibly valuable in terms of, keeping everybody intact?
I think it all comes down to the top. What's it all about? And everything in our program is about our players. And I mean that, and they'll tell you. Every day that we wake up, everything is focused on our players and relationships. And this is what we believe. You can never become a great player or a great team until you become a great man. We had the highest GPA in ULM history last fall. We had over a 2.9, and that's going to study hall. That's going to class. That's treating people right. It's doing the right thing. When you become a great man off the field, then you have an opportunity to bleed it to the field. And that's something that we stand on, and that's something that our players have embraced. And I think a big part of our retention is our relationships. Without my high school coach, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today and the impact that he made on me. So to me, everything is about our kids, man, and it's about mentoring them. These kids, they're more than just football players. They're still kids, and they're men, and they need to be led, and they need to understand that everything that they go through or have been through in life is for a purpose. It's just like me as a head coach. Everything I've been through for my career has led me to this moment and prepared me for this moment. And that's what this whole thing is about. It's about the journey of life. and it's about relationships, and it's about leading and loving young men.
Harris Simeon, Crescent City Sports. Coach, it's been 25 years since you guys have played a school just down the road in Louisiana Tech. With them coming back to the Sun Belt, how excited are you to kind of renew that rivalry?
You know, when I stepped foot on campus, the very first day I heard about La Tech rivalry. And I think I've heard about it more than any other game, or any other team that we've ever played. I mean, it's constant La Tech, La Tech, La Tech. And I told somebody the other night, I said, you know, if we're going to really rebuild this program and get it to where it needs to be, we need to play La Tech. Northeast Louisiana needs the La Tech and ULM rivalry to come back. And because it's going to bring back fans, it's going to bring back energy, it's going to bring back passion. And we've got a lot of respect for you know, the guys up north or guys in Ruston. But I can tell you this, we'll have a plan to wreck Tech too, because that's what everybody wants. So, you know, but right now we're focused on 2025.
We've got a Zoom question for our student athletes. Both you guys were new last year with a lot of new faces in the program. Now you're in a leadership role. How is it different this year?
It's just, you know, like you said, last year we had 73 new players. It was just, we were trying to get to know each other all year. We really didn't know our teammates. And like Coach said, we kept a lot of players, had a lot of players come back. So it's more, our team meshed together better. We're more comfortable together. It's just easier to lead from that point.
You know, like Billy said, you know, it's all about the chemistry, you know, within the team. I think that's the biggest thing for a team to accomplish their goals and do what they want to do is, you know, having that brother beside them that knows that he's got your back, I got your back. And I think the love relationship compared from last year to this year is night and day just because we know each other. We had to spend the whole year with each other, and I think that's the biggest thing going into this season.
With the more familiar faces around, is it easier to take that proverbial next step?
For sure, because like I said, we didn't even know each other last year. We were just kind of scrambling. Like Coach said, we were basically one deep at every position. This year we got a great team. We got a lot of great players. We're at least 2 or 3 deep at every position. Like I said, we mesh well. We get along well. We got good chemistry. So yeah.
You know, I'll go off that just saying, like, I'm even doing little things that we do as a team, just the team bonding, you know, we started to do, you know, building relationships. You know, that's the biggest thing. And I think that's what's going to help us the most is just the brotherhood aspect of it.
And a similar question for Coach. Do you coach differently since you have a few more familiar faces?
Not really. I think you've got to set the standard from day one on who you are and what you're about as a leader. And I think that, if anything, we've amped it up. You know, I think that from the speed, from the strength program, from the mentality, from the toughness, I think we've actually amped it up because the foundation has to be set year one. And that's the whole key. And year one is the toughest. And I think that foundation was laid. And I think that our players know it, our coaches know it, our town and community understand it and see it. And now it's time to take that next step.
Coach Vincent, Emmanuel Papa Sunbelt Conference. A lot of guys were talking about the mindset and the mindset that they have taken to heart and what you guys have instilled in them already here going into year 2. What does that mean to already see these guys just take it to heart and prepare to execute that on the field?
You know, there's got to be moments. You know, there's got to be defining moments anytime that you turn the corner in a football program. Defining moments, whether it's in the season, whether it's in the off season. So all we can control is who we are every single day. And there was a couple defining moments. There was a defining moment in January in the weight room. There was another couple defining moments in February where our players took ownership of the workouts, where our players kind of took that step forward and they said, Coach, we got this. We've got this, where they now hold each other accountable, where they push each other. The weight room's still got to be a championship weight room. Your speed drills still have to be championship speed drills. Your locker has to look like a championship locker. How you treat people, you got to treat them like a champion. And I think this has really embraced our team. Our guys motivate each other. I think I can go to the first year. The first couple weeks I'll walk in the weight room and we're looking at the weights, thinking they're going to move themselves. And you go in there in January and February, I'm trying to control these guys because we've got a bunch of animals in there trying to really push each other to a level that hadn't been seen. So it's those defining moments that bleed to the field. And, I've been a part of 4 championship teams. And we built those programs from the ground up. And I do believe that this team is different. And I know it, and they know it. And, preseason rankings and words and Twitter and all that stuff's fun and games. But it's got to prove it on the field. And this team, I believe, is hungry to prove it on the field.
And then kind of building off that for both the players, what has been that defining moment for you personally in the last year?
I don't think it's just been one moment. I think just the whole, from January to now, it's just been a different mentality with the team. Everyone's busting their butt, working hard every day, and I think we got a good team.
I'll say, we know what was at stake last year. We were searching for that six bowl game win, and I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. But ever since that last game against Louisiana last year, I think everybody's mindsets changed just on the simple fact that we have to know we have to play 4 quarters of football and finish.
We got a question on Zoom for Coach. Coach, how do you feel about your quarterback room, and how has Aiden Armenta come along?
I've coached quarterbacks for going on 28 years. And the biggest thing that a quarterback has to do, he has to get experience. You can't buy experience. You've got to go through experiences. And what people don't know about Aiden Armenta, we were fortunate enough to sign Aiden at the University of New Mexico. He was the University of New Mexico Player of the Year. And I knew as a true freshman that this kid was special. He's got the intangibles, he's got the IQ, he's got the drive, he's got the leadership intangibles. So he didn't get a practice last June and July. That's what people don't understand. He was cleared from a situation the last week from a minor injury. He couldn't do anything, so he was cleared the last week, and he really didn't start getting into form until week 4, week 5. But the experiences, his first start of his career was against James Madison. So Aiden Armenta is special, and I'm excited and that's a big deal to have your starting quarterback come back. I think he's had a tremendous offseason. The experiences that he went through in all those starts playing in this league where, you just can't buy it. He's got a tremendous offseason. He's had a great spring, and I think he's going into his redshirt sophomore year, and I'm extremely excited about him, as our starting quarterback. You've got Hunter Herring, who is 6'3". He was 216 last year. He's 233 pounds. He still runs a high 4.5. He got experience last year. He's a winner. You're going to see him in a lot of roles this year. I think this kid, he's got to be on the field. If we're in a street fight and I can pick 11 guys, Hunter Herring's one of the 11 guys I'm picking. So you want Hunter Herring in that fight with you. I think another guy, Landon Graves, who has come out of nowhere. Landon is tough. He was the MVP of the state championship in football. He was the MVP of the state championship in baseball. Landon Graves is a winner. And his growth and development this spring and summer has been tremendous. And he's a guy that you give him a chance, he's going to find a way to win. When we were able to bring in, Bryson Kimbrough, a true freshman, he was a mid-year enrollee out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I really like where our quarterback room is and the experience now that we have and the leadership that we have in that room.
A follow-up Zoom question for Nate. Nate, how important is it to have that quality of athlete and the depth you have at the quarterback room?
It's important because, obviously one man goes down, next man's got to be ready because it's always a next man mentality. But, just having that connection, obviously, with Aiden, it's important. It's important when it comes to crunch time in games. It's important just having a relationship with him and the bond with him to be able to be on the same page.
Any other questions from the room? If not, Coach and our student athletes will be available for one-on-one interviews. Coach, guys, we appreciate it. Good luck this year.
Thank you. Go Warhawks.
Thank you.
It is halftime. We'll take a break for lunch, and we'll be back at 1:30 with the Trojans of Troy.